One of my most favorite things to do during my spare time is actually browsing Reddit, especially the sewing groups and the vintage sewing machine groups, and see what other people have questions on and also see what people answers. One of the questions that I came across when I was trying to research and do some search on my sewing machine was this question, which took me a lot by surprise. It was the question of, I got a sewing machine for Christmas. Now what? It seemed like this person got a Christmas present. They don't know what tools they need, but do they really know in reality all you need is a sewing machine? Wait. Which is why in today's Sewing SOS, I thought it'd be fun to do a little sewing machine 101, as well as give you some tips on how to get started. Now, if you're lucky enough and you bought a brand new sewing machine, it's probably come with all the tools and a manual like this one. But to be honest, who really would read this? Because I know I don't. So just set your manual aside and forget about it. Here is the Nikki VU Nova. It's a very old sewing machine and I love it to death. So basically every sewing machine will have the same components. Your machine might look a little different than mine, but it should have similar components. Every sewing machine will have a stitch length adjustable. It could be a knob, or like mine, it comes with a little switch. And if your machine is fancy enough, it will have a needle, a lever, or a button where you could turn and adjust your needle positions, left, middle, or right. In addition to the lever or the button to adjust your needle position locations, you also will see if your machines come with a decorative stitch, it has options to how to configure your decorative stitch. So right now my sewing machines is currently on zigzag at the max width because I'm working on a project. This back. The Nikki BU, it's a little bit different because it's very unique in that everything is lever and you have to know the pattern how to adjust the machines and change the gears. Let me show you my other sewing machines that might be similar to the modern day brand new sewing machine. Here we have is my signature sewing machines, and on it, like I mentioned, it comes with stitch length control buttons where you could adjust your stitch length. Then it also comes with where all the decorative stitch options is visible and you could just select the one you want. Then it also comes with stitch width, like how wide the width of your stitches, as well as the button to adjust your needle position left, middle, or right. This display is more similar to the modern day, even though this signature sewing machines is like from the 1970s, I think. And on top of your machines or behind your sewing machines, you will see sticks that look like these. And these are not just any random sticks. They are your thread holder. If you look closely at your sewing machines, there will be little clips like this with holes in the middles and little hooks like this. If you follow this down, you'll see there's a little hooks as well as this tension knob. This tension knob is what controls the tension of the thread on the upper thread. Sewing machines has two threads. There's an upper thread and there's a bottom thread, which is usually called a bobbin system. Let me show you that part. If you see anything like this, your sewing machines might differ. But if you see anything that look like this with a little, if I could do it with my right hand, this is called a bobbin case with a bobbin inside. And if you put it in here, that's called a bobbin system. You will also see another knob or some sort of controls, configurations that sit around on top of your sewing machines or on the side of your sewing machines or maybe around in the front by where this part is. And that is called the pressure foot pressure adjustment. So right here, if I turn this knob, it will increase the pressure of the pressure foot right here, or it will decrease the pressure of the pressure foot. This bar right here is called the needle bar. Now, the needle bar is where you insert the needle. Depending on your sewing machine, the needle bar gaps right here might face forward or sideways. And then you will install the needle based on that gap. And this little screw right here is to tighten your needle and secure it in place. This is called pressure foot. And if you have a new sewing machine, there will be a variety of different pressure feet available. And you just change it out by behind this bar right here, there will be some sort of mechanism where you could install this pressure foot, change it out to a different one. Mine is a screw right here, and I just unscrew that, and then it will drop. Some sewing machines has one that you just clip on directly, and depending on what kind of sewing machines you have, but basically the same. To the other side of your sewing machines, you will see some components. This component is called the turning wheel, and this turning wheel is where you lower and raise your needle. It's control your needle movement up and down. Usually around the sections right here, close to the turning wheels, you will see a little donut wheel like this one. And that is where you put the bobbins to wind. Remember the bobbin inside the bobbin casing? The bobbin will look like this, and you usually will slip it in this little bobbin winder, and then you would click it in place and you will wind that bobbin, put it back in the case, then put it back in the bobbin system. So that's how you wind bobbin. On some sewing machine, the wheel will not exist. It will look like this. This is where the bobbin winder is. See, my machine, you just click it in place. So yours might have a little wheel, or it might look like this. That's the bobbin winder. If you look closely on your turning wheel, around that, I'm not sure if new sewing machines has this, but if you see this little knob, that mini one on your turning wheel, this knob here is to release the attachment, some mechanism inside the sewing machines, so that when you wind this bobbin, your needle doesn't constantly go up and down. It's basically release it from the turning wheel and just allow the bobbin here to spin and wind the bobbin. I'll show you briefly on my other sewing machines in case you see a difference. You could see here, this sewing machines look very different, but it has the same mechanism. It has a hand turning wheel, and it also have a knob for me to release when I need to. And that's basically it for the sewing machines. One other thing I forgot to mention is that behind your sewing machines or underneath your sewing machines, there will also be sewing machines light. And that's where your sewing machines lights come from. I do not have it on this one because it was old and it kind of was rusted and the wiring was really bad. So I just removed it. And I just replaced it with this magnetic light. I like it more than the vintage light. Now you know all the little parts of your sewing machines. To get started, all you have to do is buy the right type of needles for your fabric, thread your machine, and then sew. That's mostly it. You just have to know all the parts so that you can know where to thread. Let me just walk you through the threading real quick. Depending on what kind of sewing machines you have, it might vary a little bit, but mostly you can kind of work your way around and trace where you put your thread. To thread your sewing machine is very simple. First, raise your needle to the highest position, and this could be identified by the lever right here. When you lower the needle, it will go down. See how it's going? But when it does this, it put tensions in the thread that you will run through here. It is highly recommended when you thread, you raise this lever up. Because if you don't, when you thread, it has tension and then you can't go through it easily. In addition, if you don't, this is the position where all the components release itself from tension, and when you thread, it will run through the machines better. If you do this method, like I said, it will guarantee you will have less tension issue. If you don't have your lever at the highest points or the needle at the highest positions, and you thread the sewing machines, you will have tension issue because when you lower this lever, it will put tension on the thread. So loosen the tensions by raising the needle to the highest positions. Take your thread, put it on your holder, run the thread through. So usually sewing machines will have clips around where your thread holder is for your thread. So if mine is right here, yours could be up here or next to here. Run the thread through. So mine is just a clip here. You could feel it and hear it click in when you push through it. And then you will run to this tension knob. Looking at the tension knob, there will be two components. There will be this little gap in between, and then there will be this little metal piece. So what you do is run this thread to that metal gap, kind of follow the path of it, slide it over, tuck it underneath, and have it go through that little metal piece. Once you have that, your sewing machines will have something that also look like this, which is like a little bars that stick out. You just follow that path. See how I follow it? And then if you see something like this means your thread needs to go through it as well. So you just simply slide it. You hear that click? That means you are in the hole. Then you thread it through this lever, back down to something that look like a clip right here. This clip right here will have a gap behind. You just run your thread behind here, and it should click in. And then where your needle is, the needle component, underneath your sewing machines, either around here, there might be a little clip for you to put this thread through, right? But I don't have one here. Once you put that through here, if you have one, then you will thread through this little needle holder. It usually has a clip. So you just glide this in, and then you would thread through your needle hole right here. That's basically it. Once you get that, then you're good to go, and then do the next part where you will thread the bobbins. To thread your bobbin, all you really need is take your bobbin, make sure the thread is in the opposite directions. If you look at here, you see how there's a little gap here? That shows you the direction of where your bobbin will be. So the bobbin, it will follow this path. So if your line is this way, your thread direction should be this way. See? And then you just clip it through, pull it through, and then you will hear a little click at the top here. Yep, that's it. Then you will put this in your bobbin system. This little lever is for you to put it inside, and you will align it with the gap in the bobbin system. I can't really show you on my sewing machine because it's quite hard, but I will try. So take your bobbin that you just insert in the bobbin casing, slide it, and put it into here. You take this and you slide the hole into this slider, and you see where this little gap is? You basically push that little lever until it clicks into this hole. You'll hear it clicks. And that little piece on top should align with that little gap. There you go. Your bobbin is now inserted correctly. Now, before you start sewing, just one additional step is to pull your thread from the bobbin up. So just manually turn your turning wheel. See how this one doesn't catch? Sometimes that happens, so just lower your pressure foot down. Behind your sewing machine, you'll find some sort of a lever. That is to raise the pressure foot down and up. Lower your pressure foot down. Mainly turn the turning wheel into your needle, go all the way down and all the way back up. Raise your pressure foot up, lightly pull on this thread, and the bottom thread will go through. Once you're ready to sew, just place your fabric here, lower the pressure foot, and then you're good to go. Threading system on the sewing machines is a little different than the Nikki BU, but it's follow the same kind of steps I just show you. My thread holder is not on the top, it's actually behind the sewing machine. You see that? You'll put the thread here. If you look here, my thread sit here, and around here there is no little hooks for the thread. So if you follow that, you'll see there's a little hook right here. And then the thread will go through here. And if I follow this little place, I would run into this little hooks. And then this little hooks will go all the way down to this little tension knob. And it will go up this little lever, then go down here. And then it will go through the same needle system. Like I mentioned, some sewing machine system has a hook right underneath. So this one has a hook underneath, and then you just go through the needle hooks, the needle holder hooks, and then the needle. If your bobbin system is not like mine, but it's a front bobbin loader, you can also see it's the same way. Nothing different, it's all the same. It's just the location of the component might different a little bit, But other than that, everything else is the same. And that's it. That is Sewing Machine 101 for you. Hopefully that helped you get started with your new sewing machines. If you like the sewing series, give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, did you know I also have a Reddit page? Yes, I sure do, and the links to it is in the description box down below. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me directly relating to the Thrifted Craft kits or anything relating to sewing, you can leave me a comment on my Thrifted Craft Reddit page. As always, happy sewings, and Thrifted Craft signing off.